Alright guys, here's another video. This is mainly aimed at the Without Remorse clan members. This is for them. We're going to be going through and looking at people's fails, which is how people learn. You know, you make mistakes, you see what you did, you fix them, you get better. Looking at people's 3-star attacks, you know, it's fun and, you know, pretty and whatnot, but it doesn't always help you get better. Sometimes seeing how other people failed helps you get better. So this is mainly aimed at them, but if this helps some other viewers and subscribers out there, then, you know, cool, let me know and I can do more videos like that. I feel kind of slightly guilty, I guess, showing my clan's fails, and I hope if anybody, you know, gets their feelings hurt or, you know, you don't like being embarrassed on YouTube, just let me know and I will not include you in these type of videos. But if you like it, let me know and I can do more. I'm pretty much just going to be going down the list here of from probably number 5 at Biscuit on the way down through most of the Town Hall 9s, since that's where we failed. I'm going to try to show only one attack per person, since that's what we're going to do. To start off though, we're going to scout. Everything comes down to scouting in the beginning. Our clan uses clash tools, which I highly encourage everyone to use. A drawing up on clash tools is best, but if you can't do a drawing, then just do a description of some sort. You know, enter here, jump there, and you can get feedback from other clan members and whatnot. But a drawing is best since it paints a better picture. But we're going to go through some just super basic scouting here real quick. I'm going to show you what I look for. Where's my drawing tool? My drawing tool is broken. There it goes. Finally got my drawing tool. We're going to go through and start off with the queen in red. So I showed this attack in the war recap that went up a little while ago. And I'm going to show you. My stack was basically in 3 parts. Queen walk, Valks, and Hogs. So I'm going to break it down into those 3 colors. Queen's going to be red, Valks are going to be orange, and then Hogs are going to be brown. And I'm going to show you what I expect to get with each one of those components or each one of those troops. My Queen walk entered through here, and she walked about like this. The Queen, I'll put the X's, I guess, through buildings that I expect my Queen to get. She'll get this second layer because there is no 1 tile gap between the first layer and the second layer. See, that air sweeper is set back 1 tile, not going to get the air sweeper. So that is about what I expect my Queen to get. She'll also pull the CC, but she won't kill the CC building, obviously. That's the value that I expect to get from my Queen walk. So those buildings are all out of the way. So then I start to move into my second phase, which is the Valkyries. I sent my Valkyries pretty much straight up with some jump spells through there. We won't get into spells. We're just going to get into, you know, taking out buildings. I expect my Valks to take out all of this. And my assumption was there's a bunch of Teslas in the core. That's the value that I expect to get from my Teslas. And I did put a jump on the backside, but I didn't expect them to get terribly far. Maybe about that. You know, 3 or 4 buildings on the backside. I expected them to peter out somewhere in the backside. So that's the value that I expected to get from my Valks. And finally, but not least, we have the Hogs coming in. I put my King right there to tank. Actually, I put him more about there. I put my King to tank every single defense in that compartment. So I was going to send in a Hog there. I was going to take out that, and then send in some more Hogs there. Take out that. I was going to send in 2, 3 Hogs here. Take out all that. And then I think I saved, I want to say 2 hogs for those. I don't really remember. But you see, I looked at all my troops and I can, okay, what will my troops accomplish? And as you can see, my queen walk, I marked off what I expect her to get. My Valks, I marked off what I expect them to get. My hogs, I marked off what I expect them to get. And some of the buildings, you can't be totally sure, but you can kind of, just guesstimate. And so with this whole plan of what I expect my troops to get, there's only 1, 2, 3, something like that. What did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's about 8 defenses left that really aren't even. The only really dangerous thing there is that ground expo. The rest of it, air defense, mortar, wizard tower, another mortar. None of that's super dangerous. That's what I do with my scout. That's what I encourage everyone else to do. Go through, plan each compartment. What will my queen get? What will my king get? What will my wizards get? Stuff like that. Where will I engage the CC? Really, the success is in the planning stage. Eventually, at some point, I'll figure out how to get clash tool diagrams onto here, and I can show you Rick's planning, because his definitely are the best, far none. And I'll show you one of his, and then I'll show you the replay and how close they actually are. Planning, planning, planning. It is all about planning and making assumptions that hopefully prove out to be right. All right, with scouting done, we are going to jump into Biscuit's first hit. Some of these I'm going to show all the way through. Some of these I'm only looking for, one thing, and then the raid broke down. And I'm just going to hit something and then move on. He's coming at this with a Govaho. The first thing I'm pointing out is I'm not a huge fan of double golems with the Govaho. I suppose if you're not doing a queen walk, then you need that extra golem. But I feel that with 2 golems, you can see they're just taking a lot of damage. They've entered the base and they're both about half dead, and all that's happened is trash has been cleared. Now right here is the main problem that happened. He engaged the CC. He did the double poison, which is good, but the golems kind of walked out ahead and everything else is behind. And that dragon, I don't think any loons get off a drop, but that dragon completely decimates his golems. You can see he had 2 half-health golems going in. Coming out, he's got golemites. What else we got going on here? The heal spells. The Valk splits, I'm not a fan of this either. He did that jump spell spanning those 3 compartments, which is good value for the jump spell, I guess. But then he gets a split. Some Valks go this way, some Valks go that way. And if you plan for the Valks to die out, that's cool, I guess. But you can't heal both groups. You can only heal one. Sends in the hogs over here on the right-hand side. And for the 8 Valks that he had, let's see if I can get my drawing tool up. For the 2 golems and the 8 Valks that he had, he accomplished this. Basically 2.5 compartments, maybe about a third, 40% of the base, something like that. So I just think he didn't get enough value out of his, I guess, kill squad for the amount of troops that it was. His backside was excellent. The 2 heal spells that he had for the hogs, really good placement. And as I've said in other videos, a lot of it comes down to that 3rd heal spell. Do you use it on the Valks, or do you use it on the hogs? And if you can do both, those are the winning raids. When you have to do one or the other, that's where it gets a little bit more dicey. That's enough for that one. Moving on to number 2, which is where I start to tear into the queen walks. Some of these queen walks were horrendous. This is my queen walk disclaimer. If you are going to queen walk, I recommend, it's all relative based on the level of defenses that you're facing. You can queen walk in wars at maybe around level 15-ish. I've done it on my level 10 queen, but they're like baby Town Hall 9s. I recommend, though, more of about 20. But my big disclaimer, if you don't queen walk outside of war, don't queen walk in war, because you will just mess stuff up and you don't know what you're doing. It'd be like just going into a war and never having La Lune before, and you're like, I'm going to La Lune. You're going to fail miserably. That's my big queen walk disclaimer. I really didn't like some of the choices that Luke made here. That was the okay place for the queen walk to start. He tries to do some funneling with some minions up top here. Whoosh, all the way up top here. This ended up proving to be very stupid, though, because he sets a minion there and it eventually flies down, just gets shot. Archer tower shoots that stuff. That's the scouting stuff that I was talking about, guys. You got to know the range of that archer tower, and you save that minion for later at the end when nothing's going to shoot it. Just taking out the builder hut and then doing that, that's 4 troop space that got a builder hut. That's worthless. The queen kind of works her way in back and forth here. He sends in, I think, some wall breakers here soon. Yeah, he sends in these wall breakers way out in front of the queen. They stood no chance at all. I'm not sure. I guess he was trying to break in that compartment. I don't really know. This is where stuff starts to get bad. When you encounter the enemy queen, the enemy CC, stuff like that, like I said, in multiplayer, you have to have the experience to know what your queen can handle and what she can't handle. When to use a poison spell, when to use a rage. I know with my level 30 queen that if I see a level 15 queen and I'm being fired on by 1 defense, I don't care. I know that she can take it. But a level 20 queen being fired at by 2 defenses, an archer tower and an expo, and the queen, a poison spell is not enough. And he freaks out, uses the ability, and drops a rage. The rage kind of helps him then with the CC kill, but it was the only thing that really should have been necessary there was 1 rage. That gets back to the scouting. He should have recognized that in this area, he was going to encounter the queen and the CC while being shot at by defenses. You just have to know that from your scout. And you pre-drop the rage. You don't need to drop the rage when your queen is crazy low. You can drop it, ahead of time. Take out that defense. She takes a step forward. You take out the queen. She lures the CC. She does it under the rage. It doesn't, it can be staged. It doesn't have to be, everything all at once. He sends in that last wall breaker to try to get back into that wall, but with no funneling down here on the south, there's no chance of that. The rest of this, with the last thing that I'll mention, when you do a La Lune, do not send all of your hounds flying across the base, and then you just send in loons from every direction and try to sandwich it. Are your lava hounds supposed to get all of the traps and air mines and skeletons and stuff? Sure. But they do that periodically, slowly, as they make their way through the base, not all at once. Practice more. Next up, we have, Kit's, boom. Kit's second hit. Let's see if I remember what happens. Oh yeah, quad quakes with a jump. I'm not a big fan of 2, I guess you could say, jumping methods at Town Hall 9. I don't feel you have enough spells for that. At Town Hall 10 you can when you get an extra spell, but I don't feel that you have enough, especially on a base like this. I have seen it done. It does work. I've seen it. But, and this is another one, the golems are entering right now, and they're both at about, let's call that a 1/3 health. And they just now entered the base, and no defenses have even been taken out yet. The CC comes in, no poison spells because of the quad quakes, and the dragon gets locked onto the king, the golems go down, stuff retargets the king, and it just dies. You have to know when you're going to engage the CC and have enough troops there for it. The Valk spread throughout the base. Some go this way, some go that way because of the quad quake. Really good heal spell in the core that definitely saved it and made the attack look better. But when you do that quad quake, stuff is just going to scatter. and you don't have enough spells to cover all of that area. And then with all of the compartments that were in this base, you don't have enough spells to be able to get into every compartment. Now, Valks can break through some compartments, don't get me wrong, but they cannot break through this many compartments. I think that's about it for that base. Next up, we have Lord's first attack. And we have more Queen Walk stuff going on. This was another one where the scouting for the Queen Walk was just really poor. He brings some goblins down here on the elixir collector, which I liked. Use a Valk to tank while the goblins worked. I really liked that. But I mean, it was a poor scout already. You're right off the bat, you're fighting a couple defenses into an air sweeper. You're gonna have to burn the ability. You're gonna have to burn the rage just to get through an air sweeper. If you have to do that for an air sweeper, you're not gonna have anything for the queen or the CC. One of those two is gonna get you later on. And there's the rage and the ability because he freaks out. So if you're gonna fight into an air sweeper, know that you're fighting into an air sweeper, and then plan for it, which still isn't ideal. Then he fights the queen under a rage spell, but his healers earn a rage, so the poison was very unnecessary. Fights a little bit more, moves forward, gets the cannon, or the mortar, gets the Tesla, and now here comes the CC fighting two defenses, and now he's burned everything already. He doesn't have anything left. He's used the ability, he's used the rage, he's used the poison, doesn't have anything left, and his healers are getting fired at by an air defense, which is something that he again missed during the scout. You got to predict which way your healers are going to go, and not only who's going to fire at the queen, who's going to fire at the healers. So after that, it was pretty much the end of that raid. You got to scout better on your queen walks, guys. Queen walks are super powerful. I think every attack should use a queen walk, but you have to know what you're doing. You have to know how to scout. We're going to do Lord's number 2 as well, I guess. That's what I wrote down. Oh, yes. This one we are demonstrating a excellent queen walk. I think... I'm not sure what happened between his first and his second attack, but it was much, much improved. And you can see this is demonstrating the exact right way to do things. So drops the healers, uses the minions for funneling, gets a skeleton trap, which is cool. And I believe in this, he only encounters things one at a time, which helps. So he's being fired on by two defenses right there. Minions on the left, continuing to funnel, which is nice. Steps up, takes out the cannon. Steps up, takes out the wizard tower. And knows that there's only one defense on him, so he's safe. Except, okay, he drops rage. Never mind. Was good at scout to know that because that wall was forward one tile, that it could reach the air defense. Now there's the rage spell. Sends in a hog to get the CC while that rage spell is still active. There's the poison to get the balloons. And he's fighting the dragon. Part of it was under rage, and part of it was in the poison. He's only being fired at by one level 2 expo. So he didn't have to use the ability. Really good poisons there. Starts the second part of attack. Up top. Queen keeps walking around. And this is where he fails. He gets 3 defenses on his queen. He's not paying attention. Working on the rest of his raid. Queen goes down. And this is where the second part of the attack failed, is he broke in, and there's this huge, long channel all the way along the top. Some Valks go to the left, some Valks go to the right, some go in. There's the queen on the other side. Jump spell that doesn't help them get to the queen, and stuff just peters out. Excellent queen walk, much improved from the first, but... you got to make predictable pathing for the Valks. Next up we have TB hitting number 1. Queen comes down. Level 15 queen. Winters or war. Yeah. Lords is a level 20 queen. So here's a level 15 queen in action. Speed this up. This looks really similar. Not sure which attack came first. I wasn't really paying attention. But that's the point of scouting, guys, is you watch somebody else who hit a base before you, and if what they did worked, just copy it. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Takes out the defense, the cannon. Here comes the rage spell. Takes out the archer, steps up. Takes out the air defense. We're going to speed through this because we've seen this part already. Boom. You can see that, just that 5-level queen difference, how much slower the DPS is and behind. Alright, so we got that one golem that came up top. Looks like we're going with Laloon here. Did some good funneling. Golem king came in. Here comes the CC. Poisons on it. King uses ability to take out the queen. Everything's looking good, pretty good here. Takes out the cannon. That dragon is still up. That's hurting. But from the queen walk plus the one golem entry kill squad, we got the CC, 2 air defenses, and the queen. So all of that part I really couldn't disagree with. The part where things went kind of pear-shaped here is I like the hound deployment there, coming in from 2 different angles for the first air defense. I think you sent way too many loons, to those first couple defenses, and you already have a huge group of 6 loons. And then they group up again, 8 loons. Your first hound explodes, second hound explodes, really good. And this is kind of where your problem is that you have all of these loons grouped up now, and you have no more movement boosting spells, I guess. They take out that, and the Tesla farm is what's left at the end. And that's what roasts pretty much all the balloons. I would maybe drop 1 rage spell for 2 haste spells. I think that probably would have got you this raid if you had a haste spell there at the end. And also just two per defense, and you got to predict that pathing, But super close, and I'm not the greatest on air attacks, but I think changing out 1 rage for sure, maybe 2 rages, that'll be what speeds those loons along and keeps you going. Next up, we have Warlock. And look at that, we got another queen walk with a level 15 queen. So totally doable, but you have to scout it and know what you're going to be hitting. Starts off with a minion there to funnel. Really good catch. Starts off with a queen. Sends in a hog to lure the CC. That was almost good, except you're fighting 2 defenses plus the CC. So a poison spell won't be enough. Yep, gotta burn a rage and the poison. Which is okay, but it's just not ideal. But very good planning. Definitely, you ready for that? Looks like Queen's going to walk to the right. Good wizard for funneling. Fought the enemy queen. That poison there, I think you could have used that poison on the queen, and that would have saved your ability. So just try to keep that in mind, is everything that happens on the poison spell applies to heroes as well. But this is where the main problem came in up top. I'm assuming you were trying to get your queen to walk to the right, because that's the way you were funneling. And that air defense there in the second layer, your queen really isn't going to get to that anytime soon. And it's just going to fire away at the healers. She eventually can shoot it, but not for a while. The bottom here was the big problem that I sort of skipped over. You had 2 golems, but you didn't have really anything behind them. There wasn't DPS behind the golems. So they could tank, but they couldn't kill anything. You just had a couple of wizards there. Your king went in, he jumped out in front of the golems, and so they just died. If you're going to send in 2 golems, you have to have the DPS behind them to make the tanking power worthwhile. Send in a bunch of hogs, and the last bomb pretty much just roasted you off. So my 2 big notes for this one is air defenses. You got to scout where they are if they're going to shoot your healers. And if you have golems, 2 golems especially, you need the DPS behind 2 golems to make 60 camp space worthwhile. I'm a fan of just 1 golem in order to create the funnel. That's okay. But if you have 2 golems, that means you're trying to get a pretty big push into the base, and you need the king, the queen, the valks, something to back it up. Next up, we're going to be looking at his second attack. This base again, this is really familiar. It looks like a lot of people struggled on this base. Doing the quad quake here, no queen walk. Drops quad quake all the way up top, opens up a whole bunch of compartments, which is kind of, oh yeah, I remember this one now. Guys, don't forget your wall breakers. If you're planning on wall breaking in, bring your wall breakers. But this one was a serious kind of screw up because, again, lured out the CC, and there's really nothing there to kill it. The loon is getting bomb drops off on the golem, the dragon's breathing away at it, and that golem just gets toasted by the CC. If you're bringing quad quakes, you need something to deal with the CC even more because you don't have poisons. I think that was all I was showing for that raid. Plan for the CC. It hurts. And last up, our newest baby, Town Hall 9, was Puck going to... Actually, I wanted to scout this one first. Show you guys something. Who did he hit? 14. This happens a lot, especially in the early Town Hall 9 bases.